Welcome to Adult Education and Family Literacy Week and the Command Center, hosted by the Coalition on Adult Basic Education.
Right now, I want to bring in our next guest, Rachel McDonnell, and let's just get to it. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you. So I have to confess that I have a daughter, and her name is Rachel. And the reason that I named her Rachel is I've never met a Rachel that I didn't like. I think the name always indicates something of a person who's passionate, and obviously you're here for a passionate cause. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from, and a little bit about the work that you do.
Awesome. Thank you. And I hope I can live up to the standards of my name now.
Jeez.
So thank you for inviting me to join the podcast. I'm super excited to be part of everything that COAB is doing this week. And so I'm Rachel McDonnell. I am a director at Jobs for the Future, or JFF, and wanted to share a little bit about JFF first, for those who may not be as familiar with us. So we are a 40-year-old organization, and we are focused on transforming the education and workforce system to promote equitable economic advancement for all. And we firmly believe that adult education is an essential on-ramp to those pathways that lead to economic mobility. And especially when we think about the demographic makeup of our adult education students, which I know you had a great slide on that just a minute ago. There's a clear equity imperative to this work that we're doing. We think about the systemic injustices that have led to those gaps in literacy and numeracy and digital literacy. We have a huge role to play in advancing equitable attainment. JFF is currently involved in 3 exciting initiatives focused on adult education. Those are the DRAW initiative, so Digital Resilience in the American Workforce, which I lead. And then we are part of the Create Adult Skills Network and the Teaching Skills That Matter initiative. I can talk a little bit about those 3 projects, and then happy to talk more about other things. But so we are the lead for DRAW, which is Digital Resilience in the American Workforce. I think some of our project partners have been on earlier this week and shared a bit about it. So hopefully, if you haven't checked out the resources yet, you will do so. This is in partnership with World Education and Software Partners. And this Octave-funded initiative is really focused on providing the adult education field with strategies and resources to help build digital skills and resilience in adult education classrooms. And we think about just how much of daily life now and increasingly requires those foundational digital skills. But a lot of adult educators maybe haven't received professional development on what it means to integrate that into the classroom. So we have a new landscape scan that just came out that details the findings that we've accrued over the past year. We have a number of blogs. We have some deep dives that are coming out in the next few months. And hopefully you may have seen as well, we're going to be launching a professional development pilot for 3 states to really start engaging with some of the resources we're creating. So very excited about all of that work.
Well, I got to stop you there because we can't just run over these things. We got to give them some space because one of the things we've talked a lot about this week is the Digital Equity Act. And I'm really super excited. First of all, you know how people have like rock stars that they really like and they go crazy when they're performing? So I kind of do it the other way around. Like I go to organizations like JFF is one of them. I'm just so in awe of the work that you guys do across the country. And I do my agency does a lot of work in workforce development, and I'm so proud of the work that JFF does, but also to be parts of the puzzle that they help put together. So let's talk about the Digital Equity Act, and in particular the DRAW project, because I do a lot of work with Octave, and I am an AIR contractor, so I do work and also with links. And we actually had Amy Lloyd kick this off on Tuesday, so it was awesome to see. We cannot do enough when it comes to digital equity and digital resiliency, and that's really getting our adult learners smarter and getting them into the digital world. Can you describe for me what DRAW is all about? Like, what's its intended purpose?
So, and I guess I'll start by saying again that the reason we picked the acronym was not just because DRAW is a cool word, but also because we really wanted to highlight that resilience piece and the idea specifically of digital resilience and the importance of digital literacy and digital skills, but really preparing our adult learners to be adept and comfortable with technology, especially when you think about how much technology changes every single day. We all constantly need to pick up new skills. I mean, this is my first time coming to StreamYard, and had to figure out how that interface worked. And so it's not just enough to learn how to use Outlook. You have to, there's sort of a whole breadth of skills that you have to be thinking about. So part of what we wanted to do through the initial phase of this work was that with this landscape scan is really unpack just this complex world of what is digital literacy, what is digital resilience, how do you teach it, what are the resources out there, what are the assessments, what are the frameworks, and how do we help clarify some of this space for the adult education field and people outside of adult education. Because I think this is important, obviously for adult educators, but it's important for really everyone involved in education and workforce writ large. When we think about, again, like this digital skills needed to be successful in pretty much almost any job these days. There's a lot of folks who need to be thinking about digital skills. You brought up the Digital Equity Act. I mean, there's a lot of important emphasis on access to technology, access to broadband. And we want to make sure always that the skills piece is front and center there as well. It doesn't help to have access and broadband if you are not able to fully engage with those technologies. So
for sure. Yeah, so JFF is a leader in trying to get this information out to the field. And it's not just to the students, but to the instructors, to the administrators, people that need to know how to blend this stuff into their organizations, into their trainings, into their classrooms, so that our students can get smarter. And that's one of the things I think JFF does amazingly well, is really being able to communicate things like that down to the field. What should be on our radar screen as administrators and as instructors? What is it that we should be looking at now that's going to be coming down the pike when we talk about DRAW and we talk about the Equity Act? Where should we be focusing?
So I'll point you to a couple of things that are coming out in the very near future from the DRAW project that folks can be keeping an eye out for. So hopefully by at least Monday or Tuesday next week, we're actually putting out a full brief on instructional strategies focused on building digital literacy skills in the classroom. A lot of those things I think maybe won't be surprising. There's a lot around contextualization, really making those skills relevant, integrating them into other settings, thinking about how do you integrate it into your English classrooms, how do you think about integrating it into your high school equivalency classrooms. But we have a lot of great information in there that's coming out very soon. We have another one coming out soon, hopefully just in time for Digital Equity Week or Digital Inclusion Week. Again, focused on sort of some of those equity and access strategies and thinking about the role of things like the digital navigators in helping, especially in partnership, thinking about the ways adult education can partner with the workforce system, with community-based organizations to help increase access to those inclusion services. So we have a lot of great information coming out over the next few months that I think will hopefully help administrators understand the landscape of what's out there and some of the tools that they can be drawing on.
Yeah, super cool stuff. I just saw something recently that struck me. I used to be a director at Title II, an adult literacy agency, and they recently contracted with a company that took an old school bus, and they retrofitted it all with computers, and they drive around sections of Philadelphia that are marginalized, that kind of have challenges getting access. And what a great idea! Like, drive around the country with your digital access. Like, I want to get a whole bunch of those school buses around and just take them out places. Yeah, really neat stuff. We're talking about this week about adult education and family literacy, and it is really it's a family issue. When adult learners are going to class, it's often their families that are an integral part of their success, making sure. And I'm wondering if how you feel about some of that and that blending of both family and education together.
I'm all for it. And this is so less connected to some of the work that we do directly in adult ed, but we do actually have some work at JFF that I lead that's focused on sort of thinking about 2-gen strategies overall. And, again, the way that you think about not just individual learners, but thinking about individual learners as part of a family, who are, obviously their, family responsibilities are often front and center, and really honoring that is a core piece of a learner's identity, and thinking about how do you serve a family? How do you make sure that you're connecting them to the services, not just that they need, but that their children need, that their spouses and aunts and uncles need? And then really recognizing the ripple effects that come with that of, it's not just the individual learner that is improving their skills, but they're better able to then, navigate their child's schooling. They're better able to, access jobs that allow for higher wages, that allow for greater stability. So yeah, there's just a whole lot of power in thinking about the family. So thank you for raising that. And
yeah. I'm really mindful about that. When I look at our frontline workers and around the country that are doing this work, it really challenges are beyond the classroom. It's about life. It's about helping people navigate transportation and diapers and feminine products and all these challenges that people have that are trying to get smarter and better. And Jobs for the Future definitely are kind of leading the charge and trying to make some of that happen. We're grateful for JFF for the great work. The skills network that you had mentioned. Can you give us a little bit more about what that's all about?
Yeah, happy to. So my colleague Lisa Soricone is our lead on this one, and she does a lot of awesome work on various projects. But this one is developing a research base on effective ways to use technology in adult learning. So definitely some good connection points between the draw work and the create work. This is led by AIR and part of an IES grant. And so a couple of things that I'll highlight here, and is thinking again about what are effective uses of technology to support adult foundational skill development. There's also some effort thinking about exploring equity in adult education research. So some really exciting work coming out of that.
Love it. All good stuff. Yeah, it's staying ahead of the game is half the battle, and really thinking like what's coming down the pike next. And that's it's extremely important to kind of put it all in perspective. We are celebrating National the Adult Education and Family Literacy Week itself, and I was wondering if you had a message to our instructors out there that you like to share about the week and the celebration and the recognition of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, it's just a huge thank you for all of the work that you do every day as instructors. I think you're really the ones that are connecting daily with your students and making that personal difference. I think one of the things I miss in these COVID days, where I don't get to go out and travel as much, as I don't get a chance to meet with either students or teachers as much as I used to. And I just, but I can still remember just the passion of some of the teachers that I've had a chance to connect with over the years, and how dedicated everyone is to their students and really kind of going above and beyond. So I think just a huge thank you. And I hope that more folks recognize what the great work you are doing. I think in JFF's role, where we kind of do sit between systems, we are always trying to remind folks in higher education and the workforce system to not forget about their adult education partners and just the tremendous asset that these programs are in their communities. So thank you, and we see you out there.
There you go, Rachel. I love it. So just real quick, we have Deborah Kennedy is going to be up next, and I see her in the green room kind of smiling, but we can't wait to bring her on. But I just wanted to, if we wanted to get information about JFF and the great work that they're doing, how can we go about doing that?
So luckily, website's pretty easy because it's just 3 letters, so just thejff.org. If you are looking for draw and you use the search bar, you can just type in draw, and that will get you to most of that. And if you look for my name, you can find my email address. And if you email me, I will happily keep talking at you about adult education and draw and 2Gen and anything else you want to chat about.
We love it. So thank you so much for all the work at JFF. Jobs for the Future is an amazing organization. We appreciate your partnership with COABE, and we look forward to working closely hand in hand going forward to get people skilled up and back to work. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll follow you, and definitely we're going to follow you on Draw, and I'll be connecting with you offline about that because I got a real big interest in that stuff.
Excellent.
So thanks again, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Alrighty. So Rachel, thank you so much, Rachel McDonnell from Jobs for the Future.